Day from Easylib Software Private Limited. We are going to begin now on the topic drowning in IT. Drowning means submerged in IT, information technology, and it's the time to upgrade to cloud and SaaS, right? Okay, Sahana, can you confirm you can see the PPT as well as hear my voice and the recording is started?
Yes, sir. Everything is okay.
Okay, great. All right. So let's get started, The topic for today is the drowning in the IT systems. So why do we end up with this kind of complex IT systems, which even brings up this question that some of the organizations are literally drowning in maintenance of the IT? Okay. Before we get there, we'll see how the IT systems developed in the educational institutes. All right. Worldwide, there are primarily three reasons why the companies, universities, colleges, small organizations, big organizations, everybody invests on the information technology. Broadly, you can call information technology, the components of information technology will be the computers, the desktop, laptop, even mobile phones, the networking, hardware. These all form the component of IT system in a particular organization. In an organization. So why even people invest so heavily? The worldwide average on the IT spend is anywhere between 3% to sometimes 20%. Okay, that much money is spent by the companies in the IT systems. So the question is, okay, why that much amount is spent? So there are primarily three reasons we see. One is organizations invest on the IT to increase the revenue. So in case of a company, they want to increase the revenue. So a lot of money is poured in developing the IT systems or getting the IT systems to improve the productivity of the salespeople. In case of an education institutes, the goal here is to how can we increase the admissions? How can we make it more convenient for the students and the parents to pay the fees? How can we give better facilities for the students? Thereby, our reputation increases and thereby number of admissions also increases. We want to improve the productivity of the salesperson to make sure that they are able to sell more. So we will invest on the sales desk. We want to make sure that the fence sitters, the students evaluating in different options. Okay, whether I choose this college, or this college, you want to provide better counseling by using the IT system to increase again your admission chances. So straightforward, the very first reason for increasing the IT spend is increasing the revenues or admissions, the fees, whatever you call. The second reason why organizations spend on information technology is to reduce the cost. So if certain amount of work is taking, let's say, this much effort, how can we do it within 50% of the effort? If it was taking 30 days earlier, how can we do it within a couple of days or maybe a week? So you want to constantly improve the efficiency of the system, thereby reducing the cost. So you want to get the data of all the students enrolled in a certain way. So that way, next time you want to see who is studying and what, you are able to quickly get the data. You want to make sure that the complete timetable is automated so that whenever one staff need to be substituted, you click a button, you know where that particular staff is supposed to take the class and then who is available to take that class. Okay, so this is again saving this time or the reducing the cost. Attendance. How can we make sure that we are able to quickly find out which students are not attending or the absentee rate has increased and so on. Similarly with the exam. Now, as far as the library is concerned, you have got 20,000, 30,000 lakhs of books. You need a system to manage all the catalog, maintain the student data, issue, return, renewal, and all that, right? So that is the reason why you have this library, physical library of operations automated. You got lots of items, tables, chairs, computers. You want to track what is there. That's inventory. You want to give the ability for your students and the staff to be able to immediately request for a service whenever there is a problem. So that's why you have a service desk. Okay, so then you want to reduce the cost on getting the physical books. You may be able to get the digital books, and digital books also offer the convenience, and maybe they in turn even help increase the revenue also, because you are providing a lot more items in the digital format. Okay? So the second reason is reducing the cost. Third reason why the automation takes even more prominence is related to the compliance. Related to the compliance. For example, NAC wants you to take a survey regularly and report it. So how do you conduct the survey? You are not going to distribute pen and paper. You are going to sign up to a system to conduct the survey. NAC wants the report in this format, this format, this format. Very difficult if you don't have an automation. So you do the automation. And thereby you are able to quickly provide the reports to NAC. You are going to be able to generate the reports faster. So primarily three reasons: to increase revenue, to reduce cost, to compliance. Now in the reality, what happens is that while these are the primary goals for an IT system, the inputs for all these will come from the different sections. The librarian wants the library to be automated. The fees section wants the fees to be automated. The purchasing section wants the purchasing to be automated. The inventory management, the facilities management wants the inventory as well as the service desk to be automated. Similarly, when the organization is having about 20, 30, or even 100, few hundred people, the requirements for IT systems come from different places. And the reality is that they all don't come at a time. These all people are good in running their day-to-day operations. They know that the computers will help. They know that the IT systems will help. But do they have the qualification or the expertise to give the sufficient requirements? So now, as a result, what happens is that when you as an IT manager or a chief information officer or an IT head of an organization, you keep getting the requirements from multiple people. So as a result, what happens is that you end up with multiple applications in an organization. Okay, so that is the number 3 over here. Okay, so technology is meant to simplify operations. So that is the reason why different people are requesting. Gradually, they want, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. As the head of an IT, right? You want to keep everybody happy. You provide a system. Now, before you know it, in a matter of 3 to 5 years, you will end up with the 10 different applications. You have 10 different applications, each running on different servers, not connected to each other. Every application is critical for that particular organization. Everybody wants a 24/7 facility. Everybody wants the server to be always up and a sufficient backup and so on. So all of this responsibility comes to the IT head. So these are the visible responsibilities of the IT head to make sure that you are providing the systems, you are maintaining the server, taking the backups, and you are prepared for disaster preparedness and disaster recovery. It doesn't end there. As the things change, now when more machines are connected to the internet, you have now the additional layer to handle, that is the security threat. Earlier, the threat was only the theft primarily. But now your machine will be there, but is it safe? What is the guarantee somebody is not accessing the data? So all those are the threats, and you need to maintain the safeguard on them. So now you need to provide that service, right? Customer service to the different people in the organization. And the different people in the organization want to be able to operate those servers, to be able to deploy the software and all that. Say they want that server access also. That is again responsible to the IT head to make sure that you give the access, but at the same time, you have got a good control of that. Then take this example. You are running a beautiful organization. You have enough servers in your place. Then all of a sudden, the Tescom, the electricity supplier company, right, announces one day shutdown. So that means you should have enough generator backup, or your UPS should be strong and so on. And if you happen to be an area where there is a lot of rain and thunders, then you need to make sure that you take care of that precaution to make sure that a thunder or a lightning will not affect your server. So sometimes the hard disk go bad. Each of the server, however good it is, it has a lifespan of 3 to 5 years. In addition to that, you have got constant requests for upgrades. All that upgrades need to be done all the time. Then one of the most important risks that is the people attrition. You have 10 different applications. 10 different people have written. And that one person, you are paying certain money, go somewhere else. Then who is going to provide the support on that application? So these all things make the IT manager's job, the IT head's job, an extremely complicated one in an organization, or a complex one in an organization. And this is what many IT heads are facing everywhere, including the educational institutes. Let's go back here. First of all, why did we get into this scenario? Why did we get into this? Because as we said, right, here, you want to increase the revenue, reduce the cost, and then compliance. So the different people keep giving the requirements, and then gradually ended up in a situation where you have got a multiple applications at your place. Initially, it sounds like, it's a smooth sailing. It's like a mountain. Gradually, you are climbing the mountain. You don't know that the mountain is going to be steep at the later point of time. You only start in the beginning, gradual. You think that, okay, if I do something else, it will cost this much money. Maybe I'll ask somebody to develop what I want. Okay, fine. That guy, you give him 1 or 2 months of assignment. He will develop, deploy it. He will charge some amount of money for annual maintenance. But that's it. Now, if that person after 2 years goes up, who is going to provide the support? We don't think, right? But we get tempted here. IT managers get tempted here. Initially, if I go outside and get a system, this is going to cost this much. But if I hire somebody and do it, it's going to cost this much. Let me go with that. So you want to save money and you want more control, right? Because, obviously, when you are putting some 3, 4 programmers over there, you obviously have more control on what you want to get done. It's fairly understandable. Nothing wrong in that. You will have a feeling of having more control. And many times we feel, okay, our team is qualified to do this, right? But the reality, what's going to happen? Initially, when the applications are small, very less, it is manageable. But as it grows, it becomes a constant firefighting and upgrade attacks. Let me go more in detail on what are the challenges you will face if you constantly develop everything on your own in-house. So these are the 4 primary issues that you see. By the way, this content of this, what we are seeing, obviously the images are coming from this the AI-based images from the Google. And the content of this PPT are coming from different sources, books, different sources, plus our own experience here. So the very first issue, if you are going to see, when you have the systems developed completely in-house, is risk of having less than perfect systems. Because whoever you hire may be good programmer, but he may not have the in-depth domain knowledge. So there are so many standards everywhere. Does that person know the standard? And those standards are usable only one time, because you need to learn the standards, develop the software, and he will have to do something else. The entire knowledge gained in learning and understanding that domain knowledge or the standards is usable one time. So many times what happens, organizations may not worry about the standards just to get what they want to develop. So as a result, what happens is that you have got less than perfect systems which don't follow the standards, which don't have the sufficient domain knowledge and all that. And sometimes even critical things will be missing there. For example, I have seen some cases in case of library, when everything is done in-house, the OPAC is not accessible. Online public access catalog, which is one of the core components of the library, is not accessible by the students. Is that good? Many times broken links, 404 errors, things not up to the mark. And that I have seen in many organizations who are trying to do the things from on their own. From small organizations to even most big organizations having something like 5,000 students also, I have seen that this kind of things issues popping up where everything is there, put on a beautiful website is there, and you click on it, it says not found. Why? Some things have broken. And nobody took enough time to make sure that everything is running on time, running properly. So that's the risk that we see when you try to do everything on your own. Second is the frequent performance issue. Because with the so much of internet connectivity over here, so many running parts over there, we constantly keep on hearing the issues that the end users complain to the IT manager saying that this is not working, that is not working, this is not sufficient, that is not sufficient, the speed is low, students are not able to access it, people are not getting the emails, people are not getting the SMS, and so on and so on. Performance issues, the system is slow and all that. Constantly, people will be raising the complaint. That's the second issue that we see. Third is the cyber security. This is the riskiest of all actually that I'm seeing here. I have seen the real practical example I'll give you. One particular organization I know, they had their entire human resources application developed by one of their people. Somebody developed it in about 3 or 4 months, deployed on a machine, and he went off. That software was running smooth for 6, 7 years. Nobody worried about it. And one fine day it crashed. That person has moved on, no longer reachable. And entire data which is in the system is not accessible. What will you do? So that is the issue. Another organization I saw, the moment they open the application, everything is locked. Server not accessible. Because somebody had kept the port open. So cyber guys, the cyber attack and the data was not accessible. So cyber security issues and the backups. These are the primary issues that we see. In not only just taking the backup, are you testing enough to make sure that if at all there is a downtime, how much time is it going to take to restore the backup? And if at all the backup is restorable. Let me give an example. If you are running a software which was written about 20 years back, that will be using the Microsoft 2004-5 or Access 97. You may be promptly taking the backup, but now you try to restore the backup in a different place, it will not even open. That is the risk that we see with the local systems. Why that happens? Software, the hardware, underlying operating system, everything keeps on getting upgraded. Take this example. Windows 1990, it was Windows 3.1. Then Windows 95. Then Windows 2000. Then Windows ME we had, if you remember. Then we had Windows 2003. Then Windows 7. Then Windows 8. Then Windows 10. Then 2010. Then now Windows 2011 we have got. Windows 11. The different operating systems are constantly getting upgraded. The hardware is constantly upgraded. Pentium, i3, i4, i5, i7, and all that thing. These are all entire environment is changing, and your local system may run at that point of time, but later it may have an issue, and that thing is of a constant worry to the IT head. The fourth issue that you see in many in-house development is because human resources cost, or when the person who is responsible for that particular application, only he or she knows it and he is not there in the organization, he moves out somewhere else, entire knowledge is at risk, entire application is at risk. So these are the primary issues that an IT manager will face or IT head will face when the organization is trying to do everything on own. To mitigate this, what happens? You got to constantly keep on adding more and more people. Let me give an example. To cyber security or provide this good servers, right? I know one organization invested about 3 crore rupees to build this size 10 by 10 room where they can keep about 15 servers, air conditioned from the bottom, multiple power plant, diesel generator, and all those things. 3 crore rupees. Can you imagine? Is that the best use of your funds, or can you do something? So these have to be. So the question that we will see here is that maybe that we will answer in the next slide. Okay. We will first go to this real cost of in-house IT. First cost is the insufficient requirements resulting in not so strong system. Take an example. We are an IT company. We write the software for the organizations. Initially, we used to write only for the libraries. Thanks to all of you, nearly 700 of you are using our Easylib software for your library, and 300 of you are using the cloud version of Easylib, which is the latest version. To develop Easylib, we have studied at least 100 tenders, 100 requirements for proposal, RFPs from worldwide libraries to understand what the libraries want worldwide. And the best of that tenders knowledge has been put in our software. How we are able to do? Because thanks to all of you, about 700 of them, right? Our customers, whenever we develop the software for the libraries, the cost gets distributed among 700 customers. But if you are developing a library software for your organization, will you have enough time to invest that much money and effort to develop this knowledge to that level? I think it's impossible. Anybody can do it, but it's only the question of investment and the return. As a result, what happens? Many times when the people start developing the application in-house, they develop based on their own knowledge and maybe one or two interactions. So the depth will be missing here. So the insufficient requirement is one thing that you face when you are having the application in-house. Second is, as the people work, they have never done it. They are learning and doing it. Gradually, the cost will keep going up. In my last 30 years of experience in IT, I have rarely come across any one project which has not overrun. Either there is a cost overrun or there is a time overrun or resource overrun. Sometimes the overruns could be as high as 300, 500 or 800%. Some of them planned, some of them unplanned. In an ideal scenario, you should have your estimation is this much, your delivery time is this much, this is what, 100%. You will meet the expectation. But in reality, the cost will go up, and many times the organizations do not realize how much they have been spending, but they end up spending a huge amount of money in getting the water system they want. Let me tell you, companies are also very smart now. What they do is they plan it out. Okay, we'll come to that. Okay, but in general, just be aware that once you start developing something, the cost will go up. It is like you have a small house, you want to expand your house. You go and get the architect for design. He will give you. Then as you start building the house, you want this change, you want this change, you want this change, you want this change, this change, this change, this change. Before you realize your budget was, let's say, about 5 lakh rupees, it would have ended up with 15 lakh rupees, 300%. So that is bound to happen in the IT system. Next, what happens is that you want to run the things efficiently, right? So usually the companies keep 1 or 2 machines, primarily 1 machine. But what if that machine is having the downtime? The entire system becomes not usable. I know one organization where they were running their library system in-house and the server crashed, and for 1 or 2 months, they started doing the things manually. So that's an impact. Of course, there is a security risk exposure, capital expenditure spikes. This is something that's we always have to be aware of. The last year, the servers which were available for 2.25 lakhs, now they have become 3 lakhs. What were available for 5 lakhs, now they're about 6.5 lakhs. Because, the costs have increased, the dollar price has increased, and so on. And of course, because of the limited exposure, the innovations are limited. So these are all the costs that the local IT systems will end up with facing. So with this, what is the message we want to communicate in this webinar? The attendees, primarily the education institutes, either the IT heads or the librarians who are attending this webinar. The hard truth is that you are an educational institute. You are not an IT company. You are not a cybersecurity firm. Your goal is to impart highest quality education, which will produce the students who can be the change makers for the society in the future. You want to promote the research and you want to make an impact to the society through that research. That is your primary goal. The technology, the IT is a supporting system for you. It is not the dominating system for you. Beautiful hardware machines you are keeping in your organization will not get you A+ grade in the NAC. How much research output you have got, how quality your education is there, how well settled are your alumni, and how much impact they are making to the society. These are the ones which will get you A+ grade in the NAC. NIF ranking of 1, 2, 1 to 100 and so on. But the investment in the IT is always a supporting one. So that's the harder truth really to the educational institutes. So now how do we do? What do we do? So what questions to ask? Now my request to all of you is, all the IT heads, whenever somebody requests some system, you want to ask, can we build this and then manage it ourselves? Because obviously that's a fair question. If somebody says, okay, I need help in preparing a simple Excel, it is not worth it to outsource it, right? You can just assign somebody that work who will type everything and then prepare an Excel. That's a starting point. But now, if somebody requests that, okay, develop an application having about 15, 20, these are the functionality, then you want to ask a question, should we develop this application? Because whenever somebody requests a requirement of 1 page, it is not just 1 page. It is a glimpse of the 100-page requirement that is in the mind. If 100 things are required in a particular IT system, the person who is documenting will have an understanding probably of the 50 only, because the remaining 50 he may not be even aware at that moment when he is writing the document. When he thinks these 50 to be written, in the actual writing he will write only 20 of them, because the 30 of them he will assume, okay, people will understand it. So 20 requirements are documented, and the person who is reading them, right, will only understand about 12 to 14 of them. And when he develops, he will develop about 7 or 8 of them. So now what happened? You started with 100 and you ended up developing with 8. So what you do? You will not stop there. If you are already in the path of development, you give him some more work. Okay, increase this, increase this, increase this. The problem at the end of the day is that what would have taken 1 or 2 months, you will end up taking 6 to 8 months, 4 times cost increase. Plus, you're still not going to reach the 100% because the requirement themselves is only 50%. So this is a vicious cycle, keeps on going. So the question that you want to ask is, should we even attempt to write or should we go to the next one? What are the next options? Let's see what Professor Gary Hamel and C.K. Prahalad tell about this. C.K. Prahalad from India was one of the well-known management consultants, management gurus in USA. And he was very, very, very popular in the 1990s, 1980s and 90s. Unfortunately, he passed away in about, I think, 2002 at the early age of something like 66, 67. But he was regarded as one of the best management gurus. And we as IT companies are very thankful to C.K. Prahalad because many ideas that he gave have been implemented in many, many IT companies in India. And he and another colleague, Gary Hamel, wrote one book, Competing for the Future. In that, they tell two things. One, focus on your core competency. If you are an education institute, what is your goal? Education, research, and impact. Focus on that. That is your core competency. And what is not your area? Outsource it. Not only the education institute, everybody today tries to attempt this particular, follow this particular advice by Professor C.K. Prahalad and his student Gary Hamel. Take an example. Flipkart. We all log in, right? Many times we log into Flipkart. You place the order, but you know who delivers it? Flipkart doesn't come and deliver. One company recently which went public, Shadowfox, comes and delivers it. Or delivery. These are the companies which have specialized only in the delivery. They don't care what is being supplied, who has got the order, who is buying it, nothing. Their duty is to pick from the warehouse and then deliver it. That is their core competency. Flipkart core competency is to collect the orders. IBM's core competency is to write the software. It partners with Iron Mountain company to maintain the servers. Or one of the companies like Iron Mountain. Amazon doesn't put everything in its own warehouse. It gives options to hundreds of vendors to list their products on the Amazon platform and then sell. So the core competency of Amazon is to provide the sellers a platform where they can sell, where buyers can go, see the review, see the comments, place the order there. That is Amazon's core competency. Uber core competency is to connect the rider with the driver. It doesn't have even a single car of its own where the delivered, for riding. Everything is done through the partners because the driver knows how to maintain his vehicle. Uber knows how to make a booking. So Uber's core competency is booking, driver's core competency is maintenance of the vehicle and driving it. Airbnb provides the opportunity to the house owners to rent a part of their house. Airbnb doesn't own any hotels. It only provides the opportunity to the people or the organizations or the hotel which already own the property. So in summary, the core competency is something that an organization should focus on and rest of the things should be outsourced. Is the summary of this Competing for the Future book written by Gary Hamel back in almost like 25 years ago. One of the most read books. So now, when it comes to the software, in an educational institutes, I would like to tell about two things. SaaS, cloud. What is SaaS? Software as a service. Cloud, what is cloud? We will go in the next step. I'll explain where server is owned and maintained by somebody else. Cloud server is maintained by somebody else, owned and maintained by somebody else. SaaS software is given on a rental basis, software as a service. Now, that is the trend that is happening in the educational institutes, where the educational institutes now realize that the core competency is related to education, research, and impact, and the supporting system for IT, they want to use SaaS and cloud. Okay, let's take a minute. What is cloud? In an in-house environment, typically you go and buy a server and then keep it in your office or in your institute. You own that server. You maintain that server. You make sure that there is a power supply. You make sure there is an internet. You maintain that. Everything is your responsibility. But on the cloud, what happens is that somebody else buys that machine. Somebody else maintains that machine. Somebody else runs that and then make sure that it's all running 24/7 basis. And you will only get a login ID password to that particular server. Because of the security reasons, the organizations will tell, okay, where that server is located, which country, which city it's located. But you don't know which part of the town this is located, which brand it is, all that you don't know many times. All you know is how to log into the server. So that is the cloud server. So what you do, you rent the servers as required. You have a subscription based. So they say, okay, for this server per month, you are going to pay about 10,000 rupees. For this server, 15,000, this server, 20,000, and so on. The more power of the server you require, the more you pay. You know, this cloud, this is not something that has come only this year. About 50 years back itself, IBM came up with this cloud concept, you know. Because at that time, the IBM machines ran into hundreds of crores of rupees. So even some of the best banks in the world don't own the mainframe machines. They only rent it from the IBM, which is the manufacturer of the hardware and software, and they pay based on MIPS, million instruction per second. So based on how much you use that machine, you pay to IBM. You go and withdraw the money from the bank, and one MIP is consumed, and that bank will pay IBM some paisa or cent or a dollar. That is how it works. So that's the cloud. Let's see what is the SaaS. Cloud is primarily related to the hardware. SaaS is related to the software as a service. The best example, simple example, I'll tell you. You all are using the Gmail for free, correct? We are all using free, no? Gmail doesn't charge. But what if Gmail says that, okay, tomorrow onwards, there will be 100 rupees per month for using the Gmail. Will you pay? That is what it is. So Gmail is going to make that, Google may make that Gmail as a paid service if it wants. So now, take the example of Gmail. It is hosted securely on cloud infrastructure because you don't worry about where the Gmail is hosted, which server, where that server is there. You don't know. You access the Gmail both on your PC, you access it on your mobile, you access it on the iPad, wherever you want, accessible anywhere. You access from home, you access from your college, everywhere, right? And if Gmail comes up with an upgrade, definitely they will upgrade it. They'll monitor it. Gmail is a very straightforward application. They'll give it for, the upgrades are free. But if some advanced one, they may charge. So basically, it's all subscription based. Canva, many of you have seen, right? Canva use it for the design. So they have a different one. $5, $10 in that. ChatGPT, another one. We hire that. We take it based on the need. So that is software as a service. Okay. So now, in the SaaS, what you are really buying is software as a service, and whatever updates they do to the software automatically come to you. Based on the commercial model, whether those updates are free or chargeable, that's the updated. That is based on the agreement with the company. But usually the updates are part of this agreement, paid or free, either of them. The best part is that you don't have to worry about the cyber security because that particular provider, right, is maintaining the security. They also maintain the backups. They also make sure that 99.9% time, that is what is the SLA, service level agreement. Then scalability. If they find that this particular server has become slow, they'll automatically add more capacity to the server. And whenever you require a support, they will provide a support. So that is what is SaaS. Software as a service. That means Easylib, typically it's a SaaS company, software as a service. We have written Easylib software, Easy One software, sales desk, service desk, inventory management, project management, multiple softwares we have written. We have hosted on a server. And we, by the way, I'll tell you, we are a company specialized in writing the software. What do we do for the servers? We don't keep the servers in our office. We have partnered with Iron Mountain to keep our servers there because our core competency is writing the software and their core competency is maintaining the servers. So that's how this whole thing works here. Your core competency is providing great education. Our core competency is providing the great software to you, and Iron Mountain core competency is maintaining the server that we have given to them. And they take the help of, let's say, Bestcom. Bestcom's core competency is to give them the electricity. And some other company, the core competency is to keep all the server area very clean. So to bring the software to you, there may be about 10 to 20 companies which are involved. Everybody doing their part at an extremely professional level. So that is what this SaaS brings, high amount of professionality because we are only worried about our core competency area, nothing else. Each person, each organization is focused on its own core competence. Okay. So that is the SaaS one. Just let's do a comparison. Simple in-house versus cloud SaaS. In-house, you are going to procure a server. You are going to write software. You are going to maintain that server over there in your place. You are going to maintain that software in your place. You keep maintaining updates, doing all updates. That is all the in-house part. When you have a software which is running on the cloud, a combination of cloud and SaaS is the best model for you, where you pay certain money and that's all. You don't worry about rest of these things related to all the things that I told about the IT manager's roles, responsibility. It makes the job of you as IT manager very easy because you can focus on providing the best of your service to the customers or your organization's team members without worrying about the hardware part. Predictable subscription because only you are paying based on the consumption. The cloud infrastructure is maintained by somebody else. The general upgrades are also done by somebody else. So that's the cloud SaaS advantage here. Different OneDrive, Google Drive, Dropbox, Ubuntu, Yandex, multiple thousands of companies provide the SaaS of that specialization, Canva, providing the services. Okay, in-house versus cloud. So now let me come to the next one. How do we move from the local servers to the cloud? Because we saw that in the beginning, you were already deep into the area where you had gradually developed the system. Then now, when you think that, okay, the cloud is much better, multiple things will be running in your brain. We have already invested in our server. What do we do? Let me go over one question one by one. Server. Simple thing is that server's life is not more than 5 years. It requires upgrade. Even at our end, when we bought the servers a few years back, just last year itself in 2024, we invested heavily on upgrading everything. All RAM, the hard disk, some of these other things, maintain everything. That is a heavy investment. So if your server is more than 2 or 3 years old, then you should think about gradually phasing it out and then moving to the cloud. Next, what if the internet fails? Fair question. But let me tell you, now the things are so much intertwined with the internet, right? Failure means almost it's a catastrophe. So usually internet should not fail. So even if the network fails, now we have the mobile internet, right? You can use the mobile. Next, will we lose control when we go with the SaaS? When you have a software and your data in a local machine, you feel like you have control. But when you have a SaaS and all the data is running in the SaaS machine, you may have a feeling that we are going to lose the control. But let me tell you are not going to lose control. All you need to do make sure is that you have partnered with the companies well to make sure that your data belongs to you. SaaS company owns the software, but they do not own your data. They are only providing the ability to save your data. So make sure that you have ability to take your data when you want. What is the cost of staying where we are? Initially, it may look like easy. You are only paying 5,000, 10,000 or some amount to that maintain the software. But when and if and when you run up in a situation where that machine is not accessible, your years of worth of work is going to be at risk. That is a big risk you are going to face. Fear of job role changes within IT teams. That is something that I agree because as you develop the software, you have grown. But when you go with the SaaS, right, you got to distribute it. Yeah, that's an understandable risk. You gradually want to do that. But let me tell you, eventually moving to SaaS will really help you because it's good at the organization's level. Even though it may cause inconvenience to some of the people, because the 4 people who are working on the software, you will have to allocate it to another one. Pursued complexity of migration. This is something that we all think about it, but definitely best practices can help you migrate. I am very happy to state that out of the 300 customers, at least 50 of them came from the different software to Easylib. I'm talking about the cloud software. And out of the 700, the total customers, couple of hundred came from the other software. So we migrated their data from theirs to Easylib. So there are enough things to be done. Uncertainty about long-term cost. That is one thing. But let me tell you, your uncertainty is more when you are maintaining the servers locally and software you have written on own versus signing up with a company. Because that company will not suddenly come back and tell that, okay, you are paying 100 rupees or 1 lakh rupee and next year you will have to pay about 3 lakh rupees. That usually the companies don't do. And make sure that you cover that in the contract. Say that, okay, maybe 5%, 10% increase per year is okay. But not like a making like 300, 400%. Risk covers institutional culture. Yeah, this is something that you will have to watch out, which will, uh, hindrance to the switchover. But in the interest of your long-term benefit to the organization, moving to cloud is the best one. Dependency on legacy system, because you have written 10 systems, right? They are intermingled. You will have to work with the cloud providers to make sure that it's all integrated well. That is what we have done in Easy One is that we have made sure that we built a very solid, robust application wherein one application, Easy One, can meet all your requirements. Plus, in addition to that, we have built a lot of APIs to interface with the other applications. So you can definitely overcome this barriers. So after you move to Cloud SaaS, what are the things you will observe? I will tell you, you will have a sigh of relief. I can give you the example of a couple of IT managers who were running their own system. And I got a call about 4 years back, I think. Many times from different customers. This particular one I remember. I was driving, I think I was in a Mangalore area, going towards the Uttara Kannada. and I got a call at 4 o'clock saying that our server has crashed. What do we do? So now that customer shifted to our Easylib cloud. Since 5 years, they don't have to worry about that their own server at all. And whatever server they had, they are using it somewhere else. And of course, they pay about 1 lakh or 1.5 lakh, something like that. But definitely that worry is all taken care of. They don't have to worry because it's now part of the cloud. Second one I am seeing is focus on efficiency and user experience rather than the infrastructure. That is the second change. Digital transformation, because we are able to give more and more enhancements to them. So they are able to use a lot more features. Of course, reduction in the IT maintenance workload because nobody has to come and take the daily backups, or daily do this, nothing, because it's all done by our Iron Mountain team at our end. Improve system availability because it's all 24/7 now. Uptime is nearly 100%. Automatic updates we do, the upgrades we provide, the backups, of course, they pay for it, but they are getting the latest software. And data security and compliance, because when you go to that particular website, you will see that, okay, it's all accessible. Even to the NAC also, they put the website. Very good data security, compliance, and I think they got a plus or A double grade. And I'll tell you, as a safety precaution, we also give one copy of the backup to them. That is one safety precaution we take for them. So when you move to SaaS on a cloud, your life will be much easier, and I think you will really love that thing. So one thing you need to remember, you cannot do everything. As an IT manager, you need to set a boundary saying that, okay, whether I need to develop everything in-house or can I focus on the strategic importance, not the basic things like a system administration activities, let me outsource it. So let me maintain the people who are really adding time, who are really adding value to our core competency. Better education, better research, better impact to the society, and mitigate the amount of effort on the IT firefighting, IT maintenance, hardware investment, getting too many IT people just to do lot of the basic development work and so on, and instead focus on getting the software on the cloud platform which will meet your requirements, and thereby freeing the time for academic priorities and giving a predictability on the investment. Okay. Finally, of course, delivery, great delivery to students and faculty. So finally, if you spend more time discussing infrastructure than impact, you may be already getting into this drowning thing. Because you should, education institute, you should spend time, you definitely want to spend time on providing your, working on your core competency of education, research, and impact, not on the IT maintenance, for which the companies like us are specialized in. So take the help of the companies, external companies, and focus on your core competence. Let me tell you a few things that you need to take precaution when you move from local to the cloud software. Find a good partner. Really, this is so important, because if your software is locally developed software is doing this much and the cloud software is doing this much, that is no good. If your software is doing this much, the cloud software should be able to do this much. If you have studied based on the input from these many people, they should have got the input from these many people. So make sure that you evaluate the products based on your needs, not because somebody else has told, because what is good for somebody else may not be good for you. So you want to do your own homework to make sure that you find a good partner who will meet your needs. And let me tell you, as far as the spend goes, you got to spend optimally. Because today, the cost of a server when you want to get it on a cloud varies from a few thousand rupees per month all the way to few lakhs. Let me tell you an example. I got a quotation from, I think it was Azure for one server. They gave me a quotation of 2 lakh rupees. I asked them, is it monthly or yearly? They said it's monthly. That is what Azure quoted. But similarly, the similar machines, we got a quote from somebody else for about 10 or 20,000, 15,000 rupees per month. But you know what? When we asked them to give the backup, they didn't have the backup because they were cutting the corners. So, moral of the story is you want to make sure you are somewhere in the middle. You don't go to the cheap cloud provider and you don't have to spend on the very high end, the extremely high end. So you decide what fits you. If your requirement is to go with the high availability, spend more. But if there are alternatives available, you find out what is your total cost of ownership and what is the return on the investment. So based on that, find how much you want to invest on the cloud and take that. Let me tell you one more. Trust God, but lock your car. What I say, because today there are so many companies over there. Many of them claim to be the cloud providers. Many of them claim to be the SaaS provider. But you got to make sure that you keep a backup of your data at your place. Ask them regularly. That is very important because it will give you additional safety net. Usually that issue doesn't happen, but it's always a good practice to ask the cloud provider or the SaaS provider to give a copy of their data, your data for you. Okay, you need to remember that data is always yours. The cloud provider cannot take you for granted saying that, okay, suddenly this much is the extra price you got to pay, then only I'll give the data. That is not correct. So you got to make sure that you, in your contract, you maintain rights on your data. You own that data. And you should be able to shift as and when required. Another thing, periodically evaluate the provider's performance. Constantly the company's health are going up and down, changes, up, down, changes, right? So you got to evaluate the performance. Maintain sufficient backups and opt for high availability environment if the budgets permit. What do I mean by high availability? Is that in a normal cloud or a SaaS, when you pay some money, they are putting your data in one machine and then providing you the service. If at all their server is compromised because of cyber security or any other issue, cyber threat or another issue, in the agreement, they might have stated that, okay, they will restore the data as of the last night and then give you. So at the max, you will lose 1 day data. On the other hand, high availability, what it means is that they will maintain 2 servers for you simultaneously. So what is written here gets written here and vice versa. So when you do a bank transaction, right, when SBI or ICICI anywhere, that data gets written in some 3-4 servers in different places. So that way, even if there is an earthquake in the data center, the other data center will pick up and then provide the high availability. But not all cloud providers, not all the SaaS providers will guarantee that high availability. So you want to make sure that if you need high availability, double the investment. Okay. Or otherwise, settle with the option saying that, okay, if there is a crash, the data will be available as of last night or last hour, or whatever is the frequency of the database backup. Sometimes people take 4 times a day backup and that data will be restored. Okay, so these are the precautions you need to take. Lastly, I will just do a comparison of how much it will cost to run a library software in-house versus Easylib on the cloud. Basically, we are from Easylib, and I'm telling you this. So if you need to deploy any software locally, right, you got to make sure that you get the system admin time. He or she will have to spend time on procuring the servers. To procure the servers, you got to call the tenders or evaluate multiple ones, then place the order, get the things, check everything is there, make the payment, all that thing, right? Take roughly about 1 lakh rupees per year. Because that person has to constantly visit. Is everything okay? He has to, including the physically clean the servers. Because then the dust, even in an air conditioned room, there will be issues, right? A fine layer could be there. You got to clean it up. And dust not clean, it will cause issues. So hardware person salary, partial time, I'm just counting as 1 lakh rupee per year, some small amount of percentage. Then to get a good server, you need to spend about 5 lakh rupees. You want to take one local machine and then you want to call it as a server, don't know when it is going to conk off. So please don't take that risk. Even though you can deploy the software on that, it is not the production grade. It is like taking your Jatka Bandi on a expressway. So best thing is when you want to go in an expressway, buy that, it will run at that level. So you got to invest. Maybe minimum 5 lakh rupees is required for a server over there. Usually, and the life of the server is 3 to 5 years. So that means amortized cost per year will come to 1 lakh. Then you got air conditioning, network, electricity, you got to remodel that room, you got to buy a rack, all that thing, that's about 1 lakh. Then you need to invest on the firewall. Security you have to have. You have to have the threat prevention software, those things. Then disaster recovery, disaster preparedness. That means you got to take the backup. Where are you going to keep the backup? You are not going to keep the backup in some machine outside because somebody takes that backup and uses it. All the data will be out in the field. So that's the big threat of data loss, right? So you got to make sure that if you have one server, you probably need to have another server just to load the data. And periodically, you need to spend time to make sure that, okay, whatever the data backup you are taking is restorable, how much time it will take to restore it and all that. So roughly, you will end up spending about 5 lakh rupees per year. On the other hand, Easylib Cloud 8.4 version, which is provided on a SaaS model, software as a service on the cloud. You will roughly spend, if you have a 5 library staff, including GST, about 1.5 lakh per year you pay. So now imagine where is 5 lakh rupees versus where is 1.5 lakh rupees. And you are getting the best software here because we have studied the requirement of hundreds of libraries to write the software for you, because thanks to all of you, the cost gets distributed among hundreds of customers. And because we have kept the servers in a iron mount or any one professional environment, it is giving you almost 24/7 access with added security and all those things. And if the servers require maintenance, Easylib is responsible to make sure that it's all up and running. So you just like you use Gmail, you just use Easylib. That's all. Every day come, log in, use the application, log in. Rest is all taken care of Easylib. And periodically, we will give you the backup. You just open a ticket, tell your Google Drive access details, we'll put one document in that. That's it, as simple as that. So where is 5 lakh and where is 1.5 lakh? By the way, let me tell you, our cost as of 2026 February, right? It's 40,000 rupees for the first library staff with up to 500 students. Then 20,000 keeps getting added over. So if you have 5 lakh, 5 library staff over here, your cost is going to be about 1.2 lakhs plus the GST, which is 18%. So finally, you will pay about 1.44 lakhs, something like that. Still 1. Less than 1.5 lakh. That you are getting the best of the physical library management, digital library management, in-out management, and many modules of the campus management that you can get within that 1.5. So obviously, for your library, it makes outright sense to go with SaaS model, cloud, and Easylib 8.4. A cloud version SaaS software is one of the best in the market, and definitely we love to have you as our client if you're already one. I will need to close it. Stop managing IT or reduce your effort on managing IT. Start accelerating the growth with cloud and SaaS, because you are going to be able to spend more time on your core competency of your and the areas where you will make the difference. That is the good quality education, research, and impact, and less on management of IT, because you will be on the cloud and SaaS. That's about it. Thank you very much for joining. And if you need software for your library, or if you need software for your entire campus automation, or if you happen to be any other organization that requires software for sales desk, service desk, inventory management, project management, journal publications, union catalog, and many, many, many more. We'll be happy to give you the software. And here are the details. My name is Vasudesh Pandey with my team member Sahana Patil. You can call either of us or send an email, and we'll be happy to serve you. Thank you and have a great day.